The old dragon had been blind for 300 years. Valor lay curled in the meadow beyond the settlement's edge, scales dulled to the color of ash, wings folded tight against his massive frame. The colonists on Kepler 442b had grown accustomed to his presence over the decades, a living monument to a war long ended, a treaty long honored. Children left offerings of fruit at his claws. Adults bowed respectfully when passing. But no one truly interacted with the creature who had once commanded fleets across 17 star systems. No one except Lena Hartwell. The 12-year-old had been coming to the meadow every afternoon for 2 weeks, ever since her grandmother had passed. She'd found Valor crying, actual tears streaming from milky, sightless eyes, and something in her young heart had broken at the sight. Dragons weren't supposed to cry, especially not ancient, powerful ones who had negotiated humanity's place among the Galactic Council. "Does it hurt?" she asked on the 15th day, settling cross-legged near his enormous head. Valor's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "The blindness or the loneliness, small one?" "Both, I guess." A sound that might have been a laugh escaped his throat. "The blindness is old pain, familiar. The loneliness is newer, sharper." Lena pulled her backpack into her lap and rummaged through it. Her grandmother's remedies, dozens of small bottles, each labeled in shaky handwriting. Eyebright tincture, chamomile extract. And one bottle, smaller than the rest, with liquid that caught the dual sun's light like captured starfire. "My grandma used to make medicine," Lena said, holding up the small bottle. "She said the old earth plants remembered things. Remembered healing." Valor's head shifted slightly toward her voice. "Your grandmother was wise. But child, my eyes were burned by weapons that turned stars to ash. No herb can I try?" Lena interrupted, her voice small but determined. "Please? Grandma always said kindness was its own kind of magic." The dragon was silent for a long moment. Then slowly he lowered his massive head until it rested on the grass before her. "Very well, Lena Hartwell. For kindness I will endure hope one final time." Her hands trembled as she uncorked the bottle, 3 drops into each eye, just like her grandmother's notes instructed. The liquid shimmered as it touched Valor's scales, and for a heartbeat nothing happened. Then the dragon screamed. It was a sound that shook the settlement, that sent birds exploding from trees and set off every alarm in a 3-kilometer radius. Lena stumbled backward, horror flooding through her. What had she done? But Valor wasn't thrashing in pain. He was perfectly still, head raised toward the sky, and when he finally looked down at her, his eyes blazed with ancient golden fire. "I see," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. "By the eternal flame, I see." Lena's terror melted into joy. It worked? It actually worked? The dragon's eyes fixed on her, truly fixed, seeing her for the first time. "What did you give me, child?" She picked up the bottle with shaking hands, squinting at the faded label. It says essence of phoenix tears and morning dew, collected at Earth's last dawn before the Exodus. Whatever that means." Valor went very, very still. "Your grandmother? Where did she get this?" "She was a botanist on the colony ships. She brought seeds, samples, old things. She said she was saving Earth's memory." Lena's voice grew smaller. Was it wrong to use it? Wrong? Valor's laugh was like music, like thunder, like the birth of stars. "Child, you have just given me back the one thing I believed lost forever. And in doing so, you may have saved your entire species." "I don't understand." The dragon rose, unfolding wings that blotted out the suns. 300 years ago, I was blinded holding a wormhole open long enough for human refugee ships to escape a dying Earth. The Galactic Council called me a traitor for helping your kind. My own people called me worse. The price of my sentiment was to never see again, a punishment, they said, for valuing lesser beings above my own sight. He looked down at her, golden eyes blazing with ancient intelligence. "But you, small Lena Hartwell, with simple kindness and your grandmother's earthborn medicine, have restored what the greatest healers in 17 systems could not. Do you know what this means?" Lena shook her head mutely. "It means humans still carry the old magic. The deep magic, the kind my people once wielded before we grew cold and concerned only with power." His gaze intensified. "It means I was right about your species all along." 4 days later they came. 13,000 dragon ships materialized in Kepler 442b's orbit, each one a marvel of living metal and ancient technology. The colony's defenses activated automatically. But before a single shot could be fired, Valor himself rose to meet the fleet. Lena watched from the observation deck as her friend, her patient, flew up to speak with the massive vessels. She couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw the moment everything changed, saw the lead ship's weapons power down, saw others follow suit. When Valor returned hours later, he landed in the central plaza where half the colony had gathered in terrified silence. "My kin have come," he announced, his voice carrying across the crowd. "Not for conquest, but for parley. You healed one of us when you had every reason to let him suffer alone and forgotten. You showed kindness to a being whose people abandoned him. And you did it without expectation of reward or recognition." He turned his golden gaze to find Lena in the crowd. One small girl with her grandmother's remedies and pure heart has reminded the dragon clans what we had forgotten: that power without compassion is merely tyranny. That sight without wisdom is still blindness. The lead dragon ship descended, landing with impossible grace. Its hull opened and dozens of dragons emerged, their scales every color imaginable. "The Galactic Council has long questioned humanity's worthiness to stand among the elder races," Valor continued. "Today my people bring a counter-proposal. Not subjugation, but alliance. Not tolerance, but partnership." He spread his wings wide, and 13,000 ships above did the same, creating a canopy of metal and light that turned the sky to glory. All because one child refused to let an old dragon cry alone. Lena felt her grandmother's bottle, now empty, in her pocket. And she smiled, understanding at last that the real magic had never been in the medicine at all. It had been in choosing to care.